The concept of demonic possession is frightening enough, but the thought of a young 14-year-old boy possessed by a demon is truly unimaginable. Hello and welcome back to TTHL. This very scenario inspired a chilling novel written by American author William Peter Blatty in 1971. The book captured the imaginations of readers worldwide and was later turned into an Academy Award-winning horror movie. But what's even more frightening is that both the novel and film were based on the real-life exorcism of Roland Doe. Roland was born in 1935 and was the only child in a German Lutheran family. He enjoyed comic books and radio shows, but found making friends difficult. However, he was very close to his Aunt Harriet, a spiritualist who also identified as Christian. Intrigued by the occult, Aunt Harriet saw the Ouija board as a tool to connect with the deceased. When young Roland became curious about the Ouija board, she was happy to show him how to use it. However, in 1948, tragedy struck Roland at the age of 13. His beloved Aunt Harriet passed away after a long illness. Despite her interest in the occult, Harriet's possible reservations about the Ouija board, particularly for a young and grieving user, weren't a concern for Roland's parents. They believed the board could be a tool for him to connect with her spirit. In this vulnerable state, 13-year-old Roland began using the Ouija board, hoping to bridge the gap between himself and his deceased aunt. Roland soon became fixated on the Ouija board, spending most of his free time using it. The tranquility of his household shattered not long after. Unexplained phenomena began with faint noises and cries echoing throughout the house, seemingly from nowhere. These disturbances escalated in volume and aggression, intensifying whenever Roland was near. Soon after, scratching sounds emerged from within the walls. Roland's father, convinced rodents were the culprit, began frantically searching, tearing into floorboards and wall panels. However, his efforts yielded nothing but frustration as the sounds grew bolder, defying any physical explanation. The situation spiraled further as household objects seemed to move on their own. Pictures inexplicably detached from the walls and flung themselves at unsuspecting family members and guests. Furniture defied gravity, levitating in midair. The nights became particularly terrifying as Roland's bed frame would erupt in violent convulsions. The bizarre occurrences were not confined only to Roland's home. Roland's desk lurched violently at school in a scene that left his classmates and teacher wide-eyed with terror. Textbooks and pencils went flying across the room. Desperate for answers, Roland's parents turned to their social circle, but no one had any explanations. Finally, Roland's parents turned to medical professionals, yet even they were utterly perplexed. Desperate for answers, Roland's parents finally turned to their spiritual leader, Father Luther Schulz. Recognizing the seriousness of the situation, Father Schulz took a bold step. He arranged for Roland to spend a night under close observation at his home. That night, the two slept in separate beds in the same room, with Father Schulz observing Roland overnight. However, the night was far from peaceful. Father Schulz reported vibrations emanating from Roland's bed, persistent scratching from the walls, and even an armchair defying gravity and tipping over on its own. It was especially concerning for Father Schulz, given that Roland hadn't been baptized as a child. Faced with undeniable signs of an evil presence tormenting Roland, Father Schulz became convinced the boy was harboring a demonic possession. Determined to cleanse Roland of the demon or demons, Father Schulz swiftly made arrangements for an exorcism. To fortify his efforts against such a powerful force, he enlisted the aid of several other priests. As the exorcism began, the situation surrounding young Roland spiraled dramatically. Physical manifestations of the evil force erupted across his skin. Bruises, bite marks, and unsettling inscriptions materialized seemingly out of nowhere. Some inscriptions were desperate pleas for help, while others chillingly spelled the word evil. Witnessing Roland's rapid deterioration and fearing they might be overwhelmed, the priest made the agonizing decision to halt the exorcism. However, even after the exorcism, Roland's ordeal wasn't over. Unexplained scratches continued to appear on his body. One in particular spelled out the name Lewis, which resonated with the family, as they had relatives in St. Louis, Missouri. Despite their hope for a fresh start, the family's nightmare followed them to St. Louis. They settled into a picturesque colonial home. The haunting mirrored the Maryland events with horrifying precision. The torment escalated further as Roland spoke in a guttural voice, uttering chilling phrases in Latin, a language that he was unfamiliar with. Despite his ordeal, Roland maintained an unsettling calm during the day. However, as night fell, screams and violent outbursts erupted, his demeanor shifting into a terrifying rage. This hostility intensified when confronted with religious symbols, particularly images of Jesus Christ, which triggered intense aversion and aggression. For 2 grueling months, Roland endured between 20 and 30 rites of exorcism. Desperate for answers, Roland's parents admitted him to Alexian Brothers Hospital in St. Louis. Roland's disturbing episodes persisted. Nightmarish exorcism rituals became a horrifying routine throughout his 3-month stay at the hospital. The escalating situation drew the attention of a psychiatrist who was present during the sessions. Meticulously recording his observations, the doctor compiled a chilling 16-page account. This document chronicled the phenomena experienced by Roland's family and provided explicit instructions for future exorcisms. The priest's relentless attempts to expel the entity appeared to worsen the situation, triggering a disturbing escalation. Roland, consumed by rage, lashed out violently. He used a bed spring as a weapon, injured one priest, and sent another to the hospital with a broken nose. The tension culminated in a terrifying scene one morning. Roland awoke in violent seizures, screaming that Satan would remain with him forever. However, amidst the escalating chaos, a turning point finally arrived later that evening. In a desperate plea, one of the priests invoked the aid of Saint Michael, the Archangel. The oppressive atmosphere persisted, but then, a few minutes later, a dramatic shift occurred. Roland emerged from his trance-like state and declared that the evil presence had left his body. He recounted a vivid vision of Saint Michael conquering Satan in a celestial battle, marking the end of his harrowing ordeal. Roland's family relocated back to the East Coast, hoping to leave their dark past behind. Despite the ordeal's profound impact, Roland displayed remarkable resilience. He graduated from high school, built a fulfilling life, and even started a family. Choosing a life of privacy, Roland has declined all interview requests. Sadly, all those directly involved, including the priest who performed the exorcism, have passed away. While reports suggest Roland has no memory of the traumatic events, lingering questions remain. Did his parents ever reveal details about the chilling truth? What might Roland recount about the year he lost during his demonic possession? However, the enduring impact of this case is undeniable. Even with Roland's anonymity, the sheer trauma of the experience defies the notion of simply moving on. The St. Louis house where Roland lived still stands, an ordinary facade masking an extraordinary past. In stark contrast, the Alexian Brothers Hospital room where the exorcism rites took place speaks volumes. The events within the room required the room to be shut down and sealed. However, in 1976, the entire wing of the hospital, including the room, was demolished, a silent testament to the inexplicable horrors that unfolded there. The film The Exorcist went on to make history as being the first film in its genre nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. Alongside this milestone, it received 10 Academy Award nominations, winning in 2 categories: Best Sound and Best Adapted Screenplay. Remarkably, it held the title of highest-grossing horror film for nearly half a century until the release of the horror film It in 2017. Whether you believe in demonic possession or not, The Exorcist tapped into a primal fear of evil that continues to resonate, even today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button, share it with your fellow horror enthusiasts, and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales. Until next time, thank you for watching.